Hey guys, it's the most electrifying woman in travel, Katie from the K Show blog here, and today we're talking all about how to plan that perfect vacation to Bonaire. Now I'm going to do a little Bonaire series on my YouTube channel here, and I'm going to split it up into like 3 videos, so it's not one big long video. So we'll do all the planning tips today, the things you need to know and like prepare for when you're actually planning and booking the trip. Then we'll go through the things to do, places to go, places to eat, all the best stuff to do when you're actually in the destination, like on vacation. And lastly, I might do a video on some packing tips, things that I found helpful that were with me on the trip, you know, that I would recommend taking with you. So we'll start with the planning tips, and I'll also have full detailed blog guides on my website. So check out the link in the description. They'll take you directly to my website, and those will be like your cheat sheet guides with all the links you need for any of the stuff I talk about, and then just having all the information there so you don't have to rewatch all these videos. But for now, let's get into it. First thing you want to prepare for is the entry requirements. So this is different based on which country you're coming from, which passport you hold, and it's something that can change over time. So definitely double check this with an official website before your trip. At the moment, currently, it's January 2023, you need to pay a tourist tax before you visit, and you can pay that online. My blog travel guide that I made has like all the links, you know, for where you need to go to pay it. It's much easier to just pay it online and do it before your trip, because when you arrive, then you just go into like the prepaid line to then go through customs instead of having to wait in line to then pay it and then get in another line to go through customs. So it's a lot faster, just makes it easier once you're, you know, trying to end that long travel day. So I definitely recommend just paying it online. It's about $75 per person, and definitely just double check everything is the most current before you go with your state travel website. Information that's current as of now is Americans can actually visit for up to 6 months in a 12-month period. So you have quite a long time that you can be there without getting a visa or anything like that. And you know, you just need your active passport, and there's no, at the moment, vaccine requirements or anything like that. Number 2 is get your STINAPA Pass. So the water all around the island of Bonaire is a protected nature park, which is great because it's all protected, so that means you can pretty much walk in off the beach. You have a much better chance of seeing lots of wildlife and then beautiful reefs, you know, because they're protected. So this is a good thing if you like snorkeling or diving or just nature and conservation generally. But for you as a traveler, it does mean that there's a fee to be able to enter this park. And so entering the park means like any water, any beach. So pretty much everyone needs it. You can pay this one online before your trip as well. Worthwhile just doing it online before you go so you don't have any hassles when you're using your precious vacation time. And then just take a screenshot of the confirmation. It'll have a QR code. Take a screenshot of that, or just print it and keep it in the car. So if you ever checked when you're out at the beach, you can just show it to the people who are checking you. And all the money goes back into protecting this beautiful nature park that you get to enjoy. Since it's protected, there are a few rules that you need to follow as well. They're basic like Water 101 rules. So as long as you're not a massive douchebag, there's really like nothing too crazy to memorize, honestly. They do have a list on the STINAPA website, but it's very obvious things like don't touch animals, don't grab turtles, don't pat turtles, don't be harassing the animals. Like obvious, right? And one that may be a little less obvious but important, you know, to remember is don't touch the coral. Every time you're touching coral, you're damaging it. So we obviously want to make sure it's preserved and protected for as long as possible. So it's just something to keep in mind when you're entering the water. You don't want to be stepping all over coral. When you're swimming, you don't grab onto it to hold on in the water or anything like that. And it's good for preservation, but it's also just good for your own safety, because there is a lot of fire coral in the water, and if you've ever been scratched by that, it is horrible. So just keeping your distance from the coral will save you from some nasty scratches anyway. Next thing is the airport. So when you're searching your flights, look for Flamingo International Airport, or it might be called Bonaire International Airport. The airport code is BON, so just look for that one, and you can get there like direct from Miami in about 3 hours. But you know, search your favorite airline. I went with American, and see where they have direct flights from, because there are a few other cities you can choose from. Next thing is where to stay. So Bonaire isn't the high-rise, all-inclusive, big-name hotel type of destination. For that, you might want to look into Aruba, which is, you know, the A of the ABC Islands. So you might want to check out that. Bonaire is a small island. It has all the laid-back charm of a small island, and it has enough infrastructure for you to have a vacation, but without having those towering high rises. Guest houses reign supreme in Bonaire, and that's where you want to be looking for when you're looking for somewhere to stay. I stayed at Casa Montana and it was absolutely fantastic. I 100% recommend it. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to check it out. There's so many great things I have to say about it, but I'll narrow it down to some highlights for you. The location was awesome. It was easy to get pretty much anywhere on the island without a long drive. That being said, like, it is a small island, so pretty much nowhere is a long drive. You can drive around the whole thing really easy. But I did really love the location, so being sort of like central to if I want to go north or south or whatever. And then another great thing about the location was we could walk into the main strip of town in a couple of minutes every night, have dinner, have a couple of drinks, leave the car, don't have to worry about parking or driving or, you know, who's being the sober driver or anything like that. So it was really good to be able to adventure all day, then park the car at the guest house and then just walk into town and spend the night in there. So really good location. The rooms were really comfortable. They had everything you need, a great guest book with tons of information, and the hosts were fantastic. It's like you arrive in Bonaire and you already have a couple of friends, even if you've never been there, like I had never been there. But they were just so friendly, so helpful. They gave so many great recommendations and took the time to like really help you to make sure you have a great stay and you have a great experience in Bonaire. So I love them, and I especially love they had some shared items at the guest house that you could borrow, and the especially amazing ones were the beach chairs and the esky. Americans might call it a cooler, Kiwis might call it a chili bin, whatever you call it. That esky and the beach chairs like are so awesome to be able to borrow, because then you just pack them in your car, you take them out to like any beach and then just watch sunset on the beach with a drink and some snacks, and it's just an awesome way to end your day too. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to check them out for more information. Otherwise, there's plenty of guest houses on booking.com, so just find one that suits your needs. That's what I use to book my accommodation when I'm traveling, because I can always get a great deal there, and I'm also affiliated with them, so that is an affiliate link. Next up, transportation. Do you need to rent a car? Yes, in my opinion, yes. Without one, you're limited to taxis, which are limited to start with, and maybe any day tours you take. So it's possible to visit without a car, sure, but I think without one, like, you're really missing out on experiencing Bonaire and like what makes it so great, and the freedom to just be able to like drive, stop at any beach, go for a swim, snorkel, whatever, and just cruise the island. Driving's super easy in Bonaire, so if you're worried about that, hopefully that can settle some of your fears. It's really cruisy, there's no traffic lights, just roundabouts, so if you have some experience with those, it's helpful. The only thing I would say you should be aware of is that some of the roads can be quite narrow. So if there's a car oncoming, you might have to just move to the side of the road, like slow down and then pull off to the road a little bit just so that you can pass. Aside from that, like, the only other annoying thing is cruise ship passengers that rent these golf cars and like hog the road as they're going around because they're only there for a few hours. So that's annoying, but there's nothing crazy hectic. Like, if you've ever driven in somewhere that's like really hectic and intense, it's not like that. You're just cruising an island. In terms of car rental, you can get just a regular car. If you want to get a scooter, there's plenty of places that rent scooters and you could cruise the island on one of those. And if you want to go to the national park area, you do need a pickup truck or Jeep or something with high clearance. So you have a few options there based on what you're going to do. So now let's talk money. The currency in Bonaire is US dollar. Doesn't get much more convenient if you're coming from America. You can use your card in most places. If you have Amex, I overheard a lot of people trying to use their Amex and it wasn't being accepted, so that's something to keep in mind. Otherwise, you know, Visa, MasterCard, pretty widely accepted. You will want to have a little bit of cash though on you for the smaller businesses, any like smaller souvenir stores, and definitely for food trucks, because a lot of them are just cash only. So have a little bit of cash on you, but you can use card at the majority of places. For tipping, one very important thing to keep in mind, well, two things. Firstly, like 10% is plenty. That's generally accepted as a really good tip. Secondly, you have to tell them the tip before they swipe your card to pay. Once the card is swiped, like, that amount is final and they can't add it after, at least for all the machines I use. I think there was like one place that had a machine where you could add it after, but pretty much everywhere else they couldn't. So what that means is, like, if you're at a restaurant, they bring you the bill, you know, let's say it's $30, you want to add a 10% tip. Before you give them your card to swipe it, just ask them if they can add, You could say add 10%, but just to take out the maths for them, I think it's easier to just say, can you charge $33 or can you add $3 for a tip? Something like that, so they can enter that amount and get that tip before they swipe, because once they swipe, your only other option is to tip in cash. So just keep that in mind with the currency and tipping, but other than that, you should be good. So how long do you need to plan your vacation for? I would say 3 days is like the minimum you would need. Even with 3 days, you'd be rushing things. It's doable, but you're kind of rushing through things. But I would say I wouldn't want less than 3 days. I think 5 full days of adventuring is like a sweet spot. If you really want to go in depth and snorkel in a lot of places or dive in a lot of places and see a lot of the island before you start like repeating spots. We did 6 days and it was awesome. But yeah, I would say no less than 3, and then probably 5 is your sweet spot. Yellow rocks. So the yellow rocks are your guiding light when you're in Bonaire. They're going to guide you with everything you need to know for your adventures. Think of them as your Obi-Wan Kenobi. I'm actually like kind of familiar with Star Wars, but not fully, so I hope that reference makes sense the way I think it does. I'm pretty sure he was like guiding Luke through life, right? Anyway, they're legit rocks that are just painted yellow, and then some of them have words painted on them as well. So, for example, if you're looking for a diving site, a snorkeling site, or an attraction or something, you'll see a yellow rock with like the name of that attraction on it. Why pay for road signs when you can just paint a rock, right? So like, it's pretty handy. Just look out for the yellow rocks if you're looking for something. Something that's more helpful is when you're going to snorkeling spots or diving spots, there's usually, I'd say at most places I went to, a yellow rock or some sort of marker for the entrance and exit to the water. And this is important because remember, you can't walk on any of the coral or touch the coral. So there's usually a marker for where like a clear area is for you to get in and out of the water. Super helpful and also important, just so you're following the rules and preserving the nature. But yeah, also super helpful because sometimes there's a lot of sharp rocks or slippery sections. So if you just go in where the yellow rock is, where it's telling you to go in, you know, you've already know there's a clear path in the water there. So really helpful, just look for the yellow rocks. Sometimes they would have like entry and exit painted on them, or sometimes it was just a yellow rock. But either way, just follow the yellow rocks. How to plan your adventures. So it is the kind of place where you can just sort of go for a drive and then stop when you see like a nice beach area or something along the way. It does have that like casual, just cruising the island type of vibe. I like to section it into like snorkeling and sightseeing in areas, you know, so I was like doing the island in chunks, sort of snorkeling in the north and then going to the south. Even though it's such a small island, the scenery and the landscape, it does change a little from north to south. So that was really good to be able to section it and go in depth in one area and like just soak it all in. But like I said, it is a small island. So if you wanted to like go snorkeling in the morning in the north section, then finish up, you know, on the south side or something for sunset, like you can do that too. Is it safe for solo travel? I didn't go on this trip as a solo female traveler. This was our Christmas family vacation, so I went with my husband. But I feel like I'm fairly well experienced as a solo traveler, so using my experience to like give you some insight, absolutely. I would 100% go back if I wanted a solo beach trip. Like I'd definitely go back. I'd stay in the same guest house. I would be very comfortable staying there by myself and very comfortable like walking from there into town by myself, or, you know, going on any of the adventures. We know that no place is 100% safe, but like it had a really safe, just casual beach vibe. I think the most important thing in terms of your safety would be protecting yourself against the elements. Aside from common sense safety, like don't make yourself easy to become prey for someone else, but like aside from that common sense safety stuff, yeah, I think you'd be protecting against the elements. If you're out and about in the sun, in the water all day, making sure you're hydrated, making sure you got sun protection. Even snorkeling, since it's protected and you can just walk in off the beach, you don't have to go like far out into, you know, super deep areas. I'm fairly confident in the water and I'd be comfortable just snorkeling by myself even. If you're not confident in the water by yourself though, you don't have to miss out. There's tons of tours that you can take where, you know, they'll take you out on a boat and then you can go snorkeling with the guidance of a group and this, you know, have a little bit more safety there. But other than that, yeah, I'd absolutely go back and recommend it as a solo travel destination. So that's it for my video on all the planning tips you need when you're planning your trip to Bonaire. I certainly hope it was really helpful for you. These are kind of the things that I was collecting them thinking, what do I wish I knew before I went? So I hope that was helpful. Keep in mind I do have that detailed travel guide on my website, so just check out that link in the description. It'll take you right there, and it has more detail on all these things and a few extra things. All the links you would need to, pay your tourist tax or your STINAPA Pass or anything like that. And it's just that written reference, so you don't have to rewatch this video. It's all there, you can save it, and when you're ready to book everything, you have all the information in one spot. And then subscribe to my channel so you can stay tuned for my next videos, which will be the very best things to do, places to snorkel, things to eat, all that good stuff. And then we'll do some packing tips as well. So we'll have hopefully a lot more helpful information coming to you very soon. If you like this video, if you got anything out of it, please don't forget to tell YouTube you like the video. They need to know too. There's some people sitting in an office at the YouTube HQ that need to know that you like this video. So hit the thumbs up button, leave me a comment to let me know. It really helps boost the algorithm a little bit. And subscribe if you haven't already so we can chat again in the future. But other than that, that's it for today. I think I've talked enough, and I will see you next time. Bye!